Welcome to Fast Fridays presented by Maconi Setup Shop. Tonight, we're taking the NASCAR Xfinity Series machines to the Iowa Speedway. For those of you who haven't joined us before, Fast Fridays is a weekly series by Maconi Setup Shop featuring a variant car and track combination that is completely free to take part in. Yes, I said free to come here and race in this broadcasted event. And remember, folks, you help decide the car and track combination every week by voting on the Maconi Setup Shop social media pages. So make sure to follow along and vote for what you would like to see next. My name is David Kreutz, and joining me in the broadcast booth is Justin Prince, with DJ Lyon working the controls as our producer, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Justin, Iowa Speedway is a fast and fun oval, especially with these Xfinity cars. What can we expect to see here tonight in the cornfields of Iowa?
Well, when it comes to this racetrack tonight at Iowa, first things first, the racing expect to be under the lights. But second thing second, after the oval refresh a couple weeks ago, one thing became very prominent in some of the drivers' testing. The top line is back to prominence in 3 and 4. So expect a lot of drivers potentially at that end of the speedway trying to rip the fence and trying to build up a lot of momentum. Keep in mind, the bottom side of the racetrack expect to be pretty critical to save tires throughout the evening. But with the track like this one, multi-groove racing is on the menu.
And multi-groove racing tonight, we're going to get into it now. You're looking at our track information, 12 to 14 degrees of banking as you look at turns 3 and 4. Same goes for 1 and 2. And here, opened in 2006, Iowa, one of the more recent circuits, and coming in at just under a mile, and it's just over 3/4, so it's coming in at about 7/8 a mile. A very unique track length, and as Justin said, under the lights tonight. So we're going to see cars shining bright with the stadium lighting here in Iowa, giving way to hopefully some exciting racing. Now, 17 drivers have taken the time so far, with about 20 seconds to go in qualifying, which means our starting grid is almost fully set. Over 35 drivers have registered for this race, and now we're just waiting to find out who starts where as we head on to our 75-lap feature here in the cornfields. Now, Justin, with qualifying over, you were talking to me earlier about some experience you've had racing at this track. How do you think that's going to play into how these drivers will approach the circuit as the night progresses?
Well, as qualifying already closes up here, keep in mind experience is paramount to be able to save the tires, because keep in mind there's a lot of bumps in 1 and 2 where if you ride too low in the corner, for example, you can burn up the tires because some of the bumps. You run up to the fence in 1 and 2, you're up against those bumps. If you end up sending it too hard into turn 3, you're likely hitting the wall by the apex. A lot you have to be careful of if you're amongst these drivers, but your front runners have a lot of experience on hand.
And now looking at your front runners, Ryan Andrew, one of the drivers you see just about every week. He's going to have that pole position with a 23.344. Then going to be J.R. Scruggs in second with a 23.426. Jeff Maconi's going to be there in the 3rd spot, and Joey Masevich will be in 4th, with Cole Baxter 5th, and Daniel Molnix rounding out the top 6 there. You'll see Larry Eddy's going to be 7th, Ronnie Joyner is 8th, Mark Thrash is in 9th, and Mason Ford rounds out a mostly familiar top 10.
Back to the 11th spot this evening, and this one is Blake Walker. It's Bradley Minor in the 12th position, about 2/10 off the pole. Tom Barish put up plenty of practice laps. He starts 13. John Moers, I should say, is back in 14th. Jonathan Ouden is back in 15th, with Gavin McCool in 16th. John Brill in 17th. Robert Sanders was the last driver to set a time in a very psychedelic race car paint scheme. Ken Robnett, amongst one of the late entries into the 919th, also jumping in just prior to the start of tonight. One of the veterans to keep an eye on, someone known for speed in various cars, Nelson Rivera.
Donald Stewart with them being 21st, and it'll be Fernando Lopez in the 22nd spot. We saw him last week. John Harrison's going to be 23rd, with Gerard Lawrence then in the 24th spot. 25th will then be Brody Bent, with Joseph Dawisha in 26th, John Casaza in 27th, and Ronnie Grubb 28th. Bill Petroff in the number 34 is on the track right now in 29th, but he stands alone compared to many others who registered but did not race. At least for the time being, they're not on track. Andrew Rye one of the many who registered, who is not on the grid right now. And from 30th on back, a few of the drivers chose to register. Looking at right now, guys like Jeffrey Sinclair and Colby Robertson, but we don't yet see him on the circuit. So with the time being, 30 drivers eligible to kick this one off, and you'll see now they're taking it down the backstretch for the first time tonight. And we're going to get going momentarily now. The field is lined up to race in Iowa, and while it is a short track, it has some of the bigger characteristics of larger circuits. Not the highest in banking, but it does give the opportunity these drivers need for multi-groove racing, and a lot of times that comes into the favor of the field, who might not have the pole position, of course, immediately, and they'll try to race a little longer. 75 laps, so time will fly, but there will be opportunity to make passes. With that being said, 55 minutes at the very most. If we have yellow flags, it could go a bit longer. And we're going to find out who's going to take up the time wisely, and maybe strategy will then come into play here. As you'll see, fuel, tires, they are set to be a pretty big deal as well.
Yeah, the tires, I think, are going to be the bigger deal out of the two here this evening based on experience, because of how this track can have fall off as high as about 2 seconds. The major thing is going to be the mileage as well. Just seeing if it makes it to the end. I think drivers are good on gas per se, David. It's just a matter of, do we stay green is a big difference maker here. Another big key tonight, with it being such a cool racetrack, or a cooler racetrack at 75 degrees Fahrenheit, 73 the air temp for reference, being able to search around for the grip. Remember, the oval refresh going to change how some of these drivers have to approach one of the fastest tracks and one of the more fan favorite tracks on the service.
Now taking through the start-finish line, it's going to be Ryan Andrew in full control. Welcome back to Iowa. Fast Fridays is green, and once more, it's going to be Andrew taking them to turns 1 and 2.
Oh, and look out. That's one of the major troubles we'll see today. Drivers getting loose off turn 4 on cold tires, and one of your front runners already just had it. Trouble in turn 2.
And going to be more trouble as the caution will fly for the first time tonight, and it's going to be mayhem. Almost getting flipped by nothing there as the Hendrick car is number 22, and just like that, yellow flag is out. That's Blake Walker. In addition, looks to be Donald Stewart, and the number 4 of Larry Eddy pulls back into frame. Caution is out early, and it looks like now we have ourselves trouble to look out for. It looks like Daniel Molnick's caught a piece of it as well, and we're going to take an instant replay here and find out what kicked this one off, as we're taking it back just about 30 seconds here. You look at Ryan Andrews. He seemed to have it clearly up ahead, and it starts with the number 4 of Larry Eddy losing it down at the bottom of the track, and when he goes down, it doesn't kick off anything immediately, but take a look as they go through 1 and 2. There's the 58 of Molnick's, not to mention, you look at the drivers such as, well, Blake Walker, not to mention there's also number 29 of Jonathan Alton, and you can even see there Donald Stewart pulls in, so it's going to be a lot of your field from about 10th on back getting involved, and this will bring out the first yellow flag of the day. 23 drivers have made it to the start-finish line for at least 1 lap, and now we're seeing pit road get a bit busier after our first incident.
And keep in mind, as mentioned, you'll see a lot of drivers get loose based on some of the experiences. If you go through full throttle off the exit on cold tires, you can very easily loop it when you're on the bottom here at Iowa. But I think that incident more itself, when you talk about it, was more so, I know there was a lot of discussion of I was still there on the outside, but at the same time, most drivers don't want to go below the first seam in turn 1 and 2 because of all the bumps in 1 and 2. When you come down like Molnick's did, it shouldn't be a surprise that you end up having contact like that in said corner. It's just a bad time in the heart of the pack when you have so much contact in turn. On the bright side, at least a lot of these pretty race cars get fixed with a faster pair.
And that's true. There's always a second chance here on Fast Friday, so one more opportunity. If you got major damage, you come down to pit road, you get your fast repair, and all your damage is effectively gone. And we're looking right now at the number 25 machine. This is going to be Mason Ford, running in 19th as it stands in the Auto Owners Toyota Supra. So looks to be a clean race car there for the 25, and it looks like Blake Walker got everything fixed up as well. Almost no doubt there that he took his fast repair. Up in front, Ryan Andrew and Jeff Maconi, and you're looking down to the bottom left of your screen for our overall race analysis. 75 laps of racing, 35 miles an hour down pit road, one of the slowest pit speed limits. It's one of the absolute slowest areas of all of racing, and there is an unlimited amount of tires, so in case you need an extra set of Goodyear rubber, you can head in quickly and you'll be able to work it all out. One fast repair, 3 green white checkered attempts, and a custom setup provided by Maconi Setup Shop. And it looks like right now the Maconi drivers have the front row locked up. Ryan Andrews going to lead them back to the green, and we'll be heading back into it as they go through 1 and 2. Green flags out, Maconi with a nice jump, and we're underway in lap 6.
Oh, they're crashing out the front straightaway at the start and finish line. Somebody didn't go, David, and at least a quarter of the field involved in this one.
And the very festive Robert Sanders gets a piece of it there, and you can see all the Christmas colors from head to toe on that car, and he gets a piece of it. Not to mention Gavin McCool, Nelson Rivera also looked alive back. And as you said, it's another big chunk of the field getting caught up at once. And you can see from the moment they got by, the number 2 is going to be in reverse. That's McCool. So is Robert Sanders. It looks like as soon as they got by the start-finish line, someone must have checked up there. And that's what gave way to a bit of a chain reaction. And that will bring out the caution one more time. Take a look at that. And you can see it kicks off with a 10 and 20 of Ken Robnett and Tom Barish. And Tom ends up driving up to the high side. And you can see it becomes a bit of a minefield for the rest of those drivers, and eventually they all get away, some with more damage than others.
Yeah, and I'm a little surprised on that one. I wouldn't be surprised if it was command to get the green flag. Robnett was on the bumper ready, and all it takes is one little late reaction from Tom Barish, and in that case, not immediate, and you end up having more drivers with fast repairs. You just need to be heads up, first of all. Make sure you give a little bit of space in a race like this. Second of all, on those restarts, it's not like Talladega where you can slam into the driver in front of you in officials this week. In this week's racing, you end up hitting the back bumper with the Grand National Xfinity Series cars. You're spinning them around like a bottle top.
And you make a good point comparing it back to the racing that we actually saw Monday night at Talladega. It's a completely different atmosphere, and ironically enough, we often say that Talladega's a track known for aggressive racing and frequent yellows, but already we've matched our caution count from Talladega, and we've only had 8 laps. So we're seeing a lot of aggressive driving early, drivers making moves, maybe bit too early, I'd say, but we got a lot of time to find out whether or not that's just an anomaly or two, if that's going to be the trend that we see from start to finish. Ryan Andrew is once again in control. Looks like right now it's going to be Fernando Lopez on pit road, and coming out of pit road this time through Nelson Rivera, Robert Sanders, and Donald Stewart. They're also going to be on the move as well. Making it back to the green flag will be at lap number 10 next time around, and we will get back to the field, of course, go under green for our second restart of the night. For those watching live on Maconi Entertainment, this is Fast Fridays, and it's an event completely free to enter every Friday of the year. Be sure to vote, of course, on the Maconi Setup Shop social media pages such as Twitter and Instagram to find out what's going on and what combinations you'd like to see, and maybe they'll be the ones we run on these broadcasted events. Ryan Andrew knows one thing. He'd like to get back to Fast Friday victory lane. He's got the lead once again. He's your control car, and he's hoping to have a better launch out the gate, but Maconi once again gets them. Green flags out, and Jeff gets a jolt.
And a very quick, very clean start there. Interestingly enough, at least 6 drivers somehow, I think, got black flags in the sim off that start. Not sure how they managed that.
And it looks like going to be some penalties handed out on that restart, so that's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on, and we'll see whether or not those are penalties that get cleared. Maconi's got the race lead. Ryan Andrews going to get into second now, and it looks like the 0-3 takes charge from the number 30, and Andrew drops down to the bottom. He's going to try to get a nice run out of the back straightaway. He might have enough to go and lunge through 3 and 4, and he's working on the lower grooves here as opposed to Maconi. Maconi's on that second groove, and it's going to be Andrew taking it down to the bottom through 3 and 4, which doesn't seem to be as feasible through the first 2 turns. You'll see Andrew not getting down to the absolute bottom of the seam until late and getting that nice late exit, and that's going to give him all the speed he needs to power through and get that advantage over Maconi. But Cole Baxter right now, who we haven't seen much of so far, is trying to claw down the both of them, and this is the first real opportunity we've seen to have racing develop so far in the day.
Already our longest run. I know it's very early, but at the very least, Jeff Maconi seems to be having some fun. Got his hair all slicked up after having a bit of a faux hawk look before tonight's action, according to the cameras. But so far, that rig staying very sturdy. He's got good speed here, got the track position. He's just got to make sure to keep things careful. He does have a teammate in Ryan Andrew, who's also now a part of the Ancient World Gaming side of things as well. So he has someone at least to stay in sync compared to the others who are side by side, like 2 drivers who have already been around some of these incidents today.
And that's going to be Blake Walker and Bradley Minor. It's going to be the Clorox machine of Minor up top, and Walker tries to get the run on the bottom. They'll be neck and neck once again at the line. And despite the fact they both been involved in some incidents to this point, now they're going to be racing each other fiercely for what looks to be about the 7th spot. And they'll be running, fighting for position number 7. Looks like right now it's going to be Bradley who has it, and Blake Walker fades back just a bit. Very challenging track to consistently run side by side here at, and that's why the majority of the field is currently single file. However, if you find that perfect groove, it will show in your racing. And right now, they're going to be neck and neck once again. That's another driver previously involved in a wreck, number 58 of Daniel Molnix, and he's running down the back straightaway with Larry Eddy to his side. Eddy's going to be down low, Molnix right up top, and if they go through side by side, John Mullers is walking through and trying to get through the field quickly while he watches the battle, and all of a sudden it's going to be Mullers, Eddy, and Molnix all in the middle of the field, knowing they've got the speed maybe to contend for a top 10, if not a bit more.
And I think Eddy's amongst those I think you have to keep an eye on, based at least on some of the practice tempo. He was very consistent in terms of some of the fastest times in the session prior to tonight, and right now looking at some of the pace 24.2s. He's getting held back a little bit because of all the battles with some of the veterans of the series like Molnix, Bromnet in front. But I think if he gets into a spot where he can stay steady and just work around the track, I think he's good. He's amongst those already who's trying to experiment a bit top. So far, it doesn't seem to be working as much compared to what others may have been hoping.
And he's going to have to swap down to the bottom side to try to make that move. There goes Larry Eddy. He goes way low. Doesn't look like it's going to work out just yet, as you said, Justin. And now it's going to be constant experimentation, because it looks like now it's going to be even Jonathan Outen trying to make something happen. So definitely not the result he wants, maybe going in reverse. Now it's going to be back up in front. Blake Walker going out with Mark Thrash. Mark has a spot, but Blake is chasing him down. And this is the fight for 6th. And all of a sudden, it looks like Bradley Minor is back in it. So these 3 drivers are once again bunched up with each other. As you see, there's another battle, and this looks to be J.R. Scruggs and Cole Baxter. Baxter's going to be up on the higher side as the caution flies. Trouble. Tom Barish and Gavin McCool, the number 20 and the number 2, both go around, and they're into each other in turn 3.
And they're still getting into each other here. I'm just not sure, based already on the angle from Barish, the 20 machine, the tempers and the reasoning there. That took a while for Gavin McCool to get unhooked there. But I think it has something to do with somebody clearing themselves and not being clear at all.
We're going to find out here as we're taking instant replay. Gavin McCool and Tom Barish both going into pit road together here, and after a fierce incident. Looks like we're going to have to keep on going. Both drivers making their way in. The number 2 Ford Mustang and the number 20 of Barish, and they're both making it in for damage repair. And they got hooked up to the wall, and that's a tricky spot to be in. Very hard to get out quickly. And I'd have to agree, Justin, based on the way he was looking off that angle alone, tends to be an issue of drivers clearing each other and maybe not leaving enough room, and that's going to send them both to the back of the field and really compromise their night as the rest of the pack heads to pit road.
Remember, Barish was already in one big incident, has to get a lot of mandatory repairs done, or at least manual repairs, should say, and not a surprise seeing most of the field take tires. There is a small surprise on the racing surface as the 4 tires get complete for the front runners. Nelson Rivera electing to stay out here. All while Andrew Maconi are your top 2 off the pit lane.
And it looks like Fernando Lopez currently not on pit road as well. We'll see whether or not that is temporary. It looks like it will be, as Lopez is going to be backing it down and getting out of the leader's sight. But Nelson Rivera, that's an interesting case right now as you look up at that number 36 machine. Now, he's running what looks to be a different strategy, a 17-lap-old tire set. So he went in during our first caution and might have a minor advantage as we'll look back right now to Tom Barish and Gavin McCool and seeing them both come down to pit road once again. And these two drivers, I think they must have gotten into each other independently, as it looked like McCool ended up in the wall, hooked up there with Barish pushing, and that's where the trouble started. So here's a look once again at your live feed. It's going to be Nelson Rivera, your race leader, and now going to be Ryan Andrews second with Jeff Maconi rounding out the podium. We're now just about a lap and a half away from our restart, which will come at lap number 25.
And keep in mind, Rivera's taking a bit of a risk here, obviously, David, when it comes to getting track position on the racetrack, because with the way the race is played out, Rivera, remember, missed basically the entire qualifying session, had to come from the back, was already trying to get by some of the cars, was actually trying to make a pass when that contact for the caution flag came out. So it is a calculated risk here to stay out on all tires. I think he's essentially hoping for an error quickie caution at about 10-15 laps that equalizes the strategy, you'd have to think. Otherwise, it's going to be a hard play if this goes the rest of the way. The longtime sim racing veteran are looking to see what they can do while Maconi gets the start behind him.
And I think that's a strategy that most likely will work out, at least when it comes to getting a caution soon. Here in Fast Fridays, we're no strangers to seeing frequent yellow flags, and even though we've only had 3 so far tonight and the first 2 were concentrated in the early laps of the day, that doesn't mean we're going to have all of a sudden like no cautions till the very end. I think we got room for at the minimum 1 or 2 more yellow flags till all is said and done, and if that's going to be the plan for Nelson Rivera, he definitely knows how frequent yellow flags have been here, and I think that's going to assist him in maybe staying up there consistently and fighting for the race lead, even if his strategy is a bit unorthodox compared to his competitors. Coming down to pit road, pace car is in. Rivera's got the lead for the first time tonight, and he gets the jump on Ryan Andrew. Green flag is out again, and Rivera leads his first green flag lap of the night.
Nicely done off the start. Seen him race for several years on the surface. I'm expecting it to be fairly clean from him at the least. And there's more trouble in the back.
And it's going to be 2 drivers going around at the same time almost. Fernando Lopez gets a piece, not to mention Cole Baxter in the wall. And the yellow flag is immediately out for the 2 of which it looks like those incidents happening so close to each other in terms of time. It's just going to give out another yellow flag. All of a sudden, we've got trouble once again. 50 laps to go. Caution is out. And let's find out what happened here as we see ourselves with another incident on the track.
Look towards the replay here, and I think as we see the restart situation here, it's the 67 that I think had the bigger, more notable of the 2 spins, because they're at the back of the field. Shouldn't be a problem, right? Up along the bumps, just throttles up way too early and too aggressively, and back at round it goes. It's as simple as just too quick on the gas.
Small error is going to give way to a big change in strategy again. Now, that might put a wrench in the equation of Nelson Rivera's 36 team, as it's a very, very quick caution, so really not much can be done about that. Maybe would be better for his strategy to have it in a few laps time, but we get it once again just about on the jump, and we're already back under pacing once more. Ryan Andrew is your leader again. He's got the advantage he was looking for, and Jeff Maconi is right behind. With these two drivers being teammates, it's going to be pretty easy for them to work together and fight back up to the front of the field. They're just about there already, so really not much else to fight through. First and second, it's now Andrew and Rivera, and it's going to be Ryan with the advantage now with 27 laps in on the day. Pit road, not busy this time by, and we should be set to go back green very, very soon. Ryan Andrews seemed to be, so far in the first half, the best car on the track. However, we've seen some competition from drivers such as Jeff Maconi and even Cole Baxter, but Justin, right now, as we look through the field with Ken Robnett, you think there's anyone who can maybe pose a challenge to that number 30, or right now does he have full control?
In terms of up at the front, I think right now Ryan Andrews got a lot of control, in fact near full control when it comes to this race, as I want to go signal on the racetrack here. It's going to be very difficult to beat Andrew with clean air, because dirty air is still a bit of a factor, to say the very least, here at Iowa Speedway. Also keep in mind that outside line's not going to get as good of a launch once again because the older tires. So that's going to essentially almost force drivers like Baxter to need to get to the inside and quickly to make a pass, or hope that Rivera gets shuffled to the inside.
Now we'll see whether or not that plays out proper right now, because Rivera is still a big variable in the field. Being up in front with such old tires doesn't always work, and it's going to be a risk. We'll see if it's worth taking. Now the pace car is set to come in once again. Hopefully we'll get back to the start-finish line with another caution here. Ryan Andrews got the lead, and he'll take him through the restart zone and get the jump to be hooked up to the top of the track. Ryan Andrews has trouble and gets pulverized. Caution is out, and what a way to lose the lead from first to worst. And for Ryan Andrew, it's going to be trouble big time.
Well, there goes the expecting a calm start statement. That was way too close. Fender to fender like that. It's as simple as that. Yes, I understand the need to try and get a side draft down, even off the start like that, but that was way too close, and it leaves no room for error. If there's even a minor slip up like there was with Andrew we've seen there, it leads to calamity like that. Already under caution again, and that just took out a good portion of your field.
And you can see how close these two are, and as you said, a minor slip up, any movement can cause big trouble. And you see so many drivers getting a piece of it unnecessarily, not even just in the back of the field, but even up in front. Saw drivers such as Musevich there. Of course, it ends up getting Nelson Rivera. Of course, you saw, in addition, Ryan Andrew, but multiple other victims of that incident. And you can see pit road is busy. Coming back very soon, you're watching Fast Fridays exclusively on Maconi Entertainment, and we'll return after this brief message.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
And returning under yellow here from the Iowa Speedway, we've seen calamity in our most recent caution embodies the chaos of the cornfields. We're back 32 laps in at a 75, and coming up on our halfway marker, Jeff Maconi leads after his teammate Ryan Andrew faces some big-time troubles. We're now going to see one lap to green signal from our pace car, and we'll be getting going very soon. Maconi, who's been the right-hand man to Ryan Andrew's winning campaign all night long, now sees himself as the leader. Andrew drops back to 18th after the most recent caution. Nelson Rivera is still going to be up in second after that incident and remains with his track position. Here's he now as another driver to battle with on the start-finish line. We'll see hopefully if these drivers can keep it clean now as we're looking to get back to our green flag action. 32 laps in, coming to lap number 33. The pace car will lead the field through and we'll get back in action. The Maconi Setup Shop 03's got the control car position as the pace car drops in. Here we go again. Maconi's got the edge and will lead them back to the green. Green flags out. Maconi gets a nice and clean start, and we are underway with no immediate trouble.
No troubles this time, thankfully, but expect Rivera to slip back with the much older tires compared to much of this field, especially when it comes to Baxter looking quick on the short run already, with Scruggs showing the speed throughout the night. Ronnie Joyner's also been gaining a lot of spots as of late.
And Ronnie Joyner is going to be up in a fifth, as you mentioned him. Now it's going to be Baxter, Scruggs, and Joyner all chasing after Jeff Maconi and all working to get by Nelson Rivera. And now it looks like Nelson's strategy seeing some troubles, as you mentioned. The older tires, much older now, 29 laps of age, and that's the oldest of any driver in the field by a wide margin. Jeff Maconi's got the edge on a 12-lap old run, and the rest of the field has about the exact same age as they come to a 13th lap on the stint. And it's going to be all about now whether or not Cole Baxter can make the move. And you're looking at Baxter now rolling down the back straightaway. Cole's got himself in the runner-up spot and is only about a quarter of a second away. That time through was a tenth of a second faster on his most recent lap. And I don't think that the weather factors all too much into it. Very fair conditions tonight. Air temperature 73 with big trouble, and it's another spin down the front stretch.
And I could see that coming through turn 3. Bill Petrov is not making threats to the pack, was running door-to-door, rubbing paint under caution. And I'll just say this if we get the chance of the replay. The 10 Ken Robnett, he definitely didn't want to give the space after Petrov trying to slam the door across his nose. And again, it's going to be Robnett that's going to be part of this trigger here. Watch. 34 slams the door, tries to send it inside, bit of contact. And then Robnett's like, okay, up I go. And around goes the field, and Ryan Andrew got some of the worst of it.
And Andrew's night goes from bad to worse there, as you see. Huge incident again, and Ken Robnett catches up with it, and again, trouble here as these drivers are racing each other very hard no matter what lap it is. Now we're just coming up on our halfway point, and we're seeing the big-time aggression. Watch one more time here with Ken Robnett. He goes down low, and he's not going to give up that space. He taps once, taps twice, and that's when everything goes to waste. And it's going to be now Robnett go down to the bottom. The apron going to see some big troubles. Ryan Andrew gets a piece of it, and you can see everyone else trying to get out of it. It's almost another big minefield type situation, and luckily a few drivers got out of it unscathed. We saw others like John Muller's taking huge hits when it all was said and done.
Right side, it looks like Andrew at least had the faster pair in his pocket, so he'll get the chance to run again. We've had a lot of DNFs already. We're talking about already 5 or 6, and we're just about halfway, if not even at that point. You have to be thinking, if you're amongst the drivers at this point, okay, how am I going to play this? How am I going to keep this clean? How am I going to survive? And right now, for a lot of drivers, the aggression levels are high. Keep in mind as well, you have massive strategy differences, because the 67, who, mind you, a couple restarts ago looped it, he's starting this one in 6th.
And it looks like for some drivers, these frequent cautions are a way to build up track position. So we've seen attrition, as you mentioned. We have 5 retirees so far. And for the drivers that remain, if you have a lot of cautions, you can sometimes take advantage. Fernando Lopez is one of the guys doing just that. And the 67 is just within contention of the top 5. We're seeing some familiar faces ahead. Maconi, Baxter, Scruggs. That is your top 3 as we're going to get rolling once again. Your first restart of the second half, and it's going to be all about whether or not Maconi gets the launch here. He's had great restarts before. Can he pull it off once again? It looks like this time he gets another launch that gives him the lead. Green flag's out, and Jeff Maconi gets the job done on the starts.
And Ken's not making friends with going up the middle 3 wide to gain spots before the start and finish line. But I guess you could say, if iRacing allows it, in official, you can at least try it. The normal Truck Series racer, not making friends tonight.
And they're going to be double file, multiple lanes deep here. You can see it's going to be now Ken Robnett working down to the bottom side on Gavin McCool, both of which have been involved in at least one caution tonight. So maybe we're going to see some bit more risky racing as the back of the field, as more of our caution-prone guys getting involved and getting a little more beat up as the races progressed. Robnett right now is going to be just ahead of a big move from Mark Thrash, and Thrash nearly taps the quarter panel of John Mullers. That was a very close one, and luckily John just got away, only to tap another. Yellow flag is due to fly. Moments gets a piece, and we're once again going to be pacing.
What type of send was that?
How about that? I mean, Justin, you got to run us through it.
I don't get that, because yes, there was the contact. I don't think that had more so to do with it, because that was a different driver. But there's linking the stamp and sending it, and then there's that. The send wasn't even close to there. He tried to get to the second groove, late braked it like crazy, and then missed the apex he was looking for, straight into Molnix. And essentially, he sends himself, Thrash, and the 60 in sim all the way into the fence.
He missed everything but Daniel Molnix on that one. Very, very tricky to understand what was going on, and another caution as a result of some risky racing. Mind you, that was in the middle of the field once again, and we're seeing troubles as Mullers is now going to be down to 18th. Daniel Molnix is in 16th, and once again, Mark Thrash finds himself down to the bottom ranks, running in position number 17. Yellow flag is out, and Jeff Maconi still leads, but some of the other Maconi drivers today having a lot more trouble, and it looks like we're seeing that was a bit of a spirited attack on, of course, the circuit. Once again, we're seeing tempers beginning to flare, and that might become more and more common in the dying laps of this race now, as we're seeing drivers really going all out, no matter how realistic it seems.
Yeah, this is to where, again, being smart is critical. Well, Maconi is being smart by not getting into incidents. That's the main goal right now, is don't get into incidents. And no surprise, no more John Mullers. He's done for the night.
And it looks like another driver going to be sent out of here. That's another retiree. Attrition, attrition, attrition. And another unnecessary wreck, to put it frankly, is going to give way to pacing once again. One lap to green, this time by, and it's Jeff Maconi, your race leader. Then from there on out, going to be, of course, looking on the top side. It's another 0-3, but in this case, it's Cole Baxter then in second. J.R. Scruggs is third, Blake Walker fourth, and Ryan Andrew, he's sporting the Ancient World paint scheme. He went for the back of the field just 3 cautions ago. Back to the top 5. So maybe the night's not over for Ryan just yet. He has used that fast repair, but he's back up there. Might have a chance to go back for the win after having the dominant speed all throughout the first half. But we'll see whether or not he makes it by guys like Scruggs and Baxter here before he gets to Jeff Maconi, because they're once again lining up real close to each other. And they're already rubbing door to door. They're going to keep that going as they come by the start finish line. Hopefully not. Maconi gets the jump, gets it going again, and green flag's out, and Jeff Maconi can't be beat on these restarts.
It's very hard to beat the control car when they're able to be the one dictating the start, right? But Cole Baxter's been able to make it through a lot to get into track position here, up to second. Driver with short track racing experience, runs in V8 cars in the Mid-South, and now I think might be one of the best drivers with the best chance. If Andrew has nothing to say about that, he's up to 4th now with the send.
And there goes Ryan Andrew, not done tonight. He saw trouble, and of course he faced it firsthand, but now puts himself in a spot to maybe fight for the top 5 run, if not, even better. There goes Ryan Andrew, and it looks like he's got it just ahead of Walker now, and that's going to be the move that puts him in 4th, and he's going to look for 3rd as soon as J.R. Stubbs is now going to face the pressure, and J.R.'s up top while Ryan Andrew lies low. They're going to be neck and neck further in the field. Taking a look at Masevich, going to be side by side with the 31 of Mark Thrash. Mark comes up the track just a bit, gives enough room, and there won't be any issue there, as it's going to be Masevich keeping himself isolated from the pack ahead and behind them. It's going to be very close, though, between Baxter, Andrew, and Scruggs, and that's going to be even further up to the front of the field, side by side now. That looks to be for 3rd, as you're seeing neck and neck now between the number 22 machine and the rest of the pack further on back. Andrew's going to barely get out the way and make it up to 2nd, and that's a huge move for his campaign here. Now only one other driver to face, Jeff Maconi, who is your race leader. 1-2 for the Maconi drivers.
And remember, Ryan Andrews got a little bit fresher tires in the sequence, so he's got the upper hand per se in all this. He's gotten some breaks through this field. I think he's got a great chance. Thing is, though, that's pending if it stays green, because it's getting very racy side by side, multiple rows deep throughout the pack.
And you can see now Daniel Molnick's not backing out, nor is Ken Robnett. Not to mention, you're also seeing Gavin McCool and Larry Eddy all facing off against each other, and a lot of drivers who have been involved in some very risky shenanigans all around each other again. And that's the type of environment that sometimes breeds a yellow flag or two. And I think that might be what we see again coming out of turn 4. Taking a look at it, you're seeing now Cole Baxter's trying to fend off the field, but the field is coming in quick. And I think it's going to be a much more challenge for him. If he gets passed by Walker or Scruggs, he's not going to have any fun, as the minefield lies just behind. And when it comes down to it, your top 10 is only separate by 2 seconds. The rest of the field is separated 3 seconds from there on out. A very dense top 10, and most of the battle lies in the heart of the field here. Up to the wall, Masevich gets in it. He's going to catch a piece, but he'll keep on going there as he tries to work the 3rd groove. They're 3 wide once again. Molnix has the spot just ahead of that battle and just barely parks it in the middle of the corner and gets the speed off exit to avoid any trouble. 3 wide. It's going to be the 67 of Lopez. Make it 4 wide. Masevich up top. He's going to be able to get through, but Lopez finds trouble and will collect another. Yellow flags out, and it's another caution, and in addition, Bradley Minor is collected.
And that's what happens when you're 4 wide, contrary to what people believe in the session, it sounds like. 4 wide at Iowa is rarely going to work. And in that case, it was more so the 67 who won the prize, getting their front bumper sheared off. They had to check up and get out of it. Problem is, there's no space to check up and get out of it. Bradley Minor just right behind him is just trying to keep up the pace. It's either check up in that case of the 67 circumstance, or you push Joey Masevich into the fence.
And there's really no winning outcome there for the number 67 of Lopez, but I think for his case specifically, that might have been the worst way to go about it. And you're seeing right now the two drivers involved, and Lopez and Minor right up against each other. Looks like no contact, so maybe no ill will regarding the incident, but definitely not what you'd like to see as the field will come down into pit road. Maconi, Andrew, Baxter, your top three, 54 laps in, and it's going to be a fierce charge into pit road one more time. This might be the final pit stop cycle of the night, so keep an eye on that 0-3. He's had the race lead ever since Ryan Andrews' first wreck on the night, and right now he might be able to pull through and have himself a race win if all goes well on pit road. Coming into pit road as well, you'll see Macevich, also Scruggs, and even Cole Baxter. And watching that pit exit camera, Ryan Andrews looks to be beaten out again by not only Maconi, but Daniel Molnix and Joey Macevich, and even almost the number 22 there of Nelson Rivera. But Andrews going to get out in fifth and lose some spots as Ken Robnett opts to stay on the track.
That's a bold call to have two tires in this situation, to say the very least, because you're talking about drivers turning, in some cases, 20, 30 laps on the left sides here. I don't know if this is going to work out the way they're hoping, because it's loose off the jump, and you just made the car very loose. And it's going to be even worse for Ken, because I can tell you what he said in the radio. It was whelp when he got left out as the only person not to pit. And on 26 lap old rubber, including the pace laps, he is a sitting duck.
20 laps remain. Ken Robnett is going to try to do the impossible, in all honesty. We saw Nelson Rivera attempt this, and it ended in catastrophe. Old tires as a race leader. Let's see if it works out here, as we are going to come around this time by and get back to the action. Fastest lap tonight turned by Blake Walker. Right now he runs in ninth, but he definitely has had speed all night long, so with new tires, watch out for Blake. He should be able to get back in the front running and maybe fight for a top five when all is said and done. However, now it's going to be Ken Robnett taking him through as the control car for this restart. The old tires, it's a big risk to make it work. There's still a chance, but not a certainty. Green flag's out, and Robnett gets a very good jump, as a matter of fact. However, he's going to need it to stay ahead of Molnix and the aforementioned Maconi.
I think he's going to be in trouble in about a lap or two, because you're talking about lots of pace already for especially Andrew. Never mind, the 67 is in for another round of spinning around.
Cautions out again, Fernando Lopez, and as you said there, Justin, I think that's about as simple as it gets. No other driver looked to be involved in that one, and Lopez goes around sliding once again, and it's going to be the number 67 finding trouble out of turn two. Here's a look one more time. Didn't look to be anything too crazy here, as Lopez is going to be coming through the first two turns, and you'll see there, it looks like no contact with Bradley Minor, and coming out of the exit, just going to get a piece there, and that's going to be Gavin McCool making contact, and just going to spin down to the bottom of the track and got T-boned on the way in. However, no cosmetic damage that was majorly apparent. And just like that, we are back under yellow with only 18 laps remaining. Time is running out for all these drivers here. They've got to keep that in mind. There is no time crunch. However, we are definitely running out of laps. Yellow flag out once again here. It's going to be Ken Robnett, your leader, and he gets the early saving grace, but he still is going to have to fight quite a few laps to get to the end in the current shape he's in. Molnix is second, Maconi's third, and right now Fernando Lopez is 16th and last of those on the lead lap as he takes his fast repair and gets on the way.
Yeah, he's going to run a time quickly here. It's already one to go, so the 67, I think, just found out, oh, hey, I have no time to stop, so let's go through the pit lane and catch the field. Because if he takes the service here, he's losing the field, to be quite frank. He only took 2 seconds for the fast repair, for reference, I think, if anything.
And he's back with him, just barely getting there in time. Ken Robnett's going to be the man in control. He had a very good initial start, but these are not very reliable tires. To keep that in mind, 2 tires are not going to work out too perfect overall, but it's another nice jump, and Ken's got the lead again. Green flags out, and we are now at lap 60, and Ken Robnett tries to make the gamble work. He'll be hoping for another yellow.
Gonna need to play all the lines here, because Molnix had an even better start there, and Andrews coming top shelf. You can't block them both.
He's going to try to. That's not going to work at all. Now it's going to be Rob Nett finding trouble all the way on the high side. Mullick's blocks low, and that gives enough speed for Rob Nett to barely stay in the mix, but it won't work out long term here. Andrew's going to wash up. Rob Nett's going to be side by side for second. Even Jeff Maconi's now coming into play as you see a bit of a bounce there back in the field. Now Ken's going to be fading slowly but surely out of the picture. Daniel Mullick has the race lead. It's going to be the Fastnell number 60, leading with 14 laps to go. Nearly trouble for Cole Baxter. He'll save it and lock it down once again. However, now the new tires are certainly going to be preferred as Jeff Maconi, while he's struggling to get away from Rob Nett, the top two have already made their moves and they are getting distance from the rest of the field. Masevich goes way high here, taking it up to the top groove to maybe make something work with some momentum. He's got the space to get right up to the back bumper of JR Scruggs, and this is the battle for fourth here. Rob Nett down low. It's going to be Scruggs to roll in that middle, and the top side is up for Joey Masevich as Andrew's going down low and tries to take the race lead on a lunge through 3 and 4. He's got the lead. He's going to get slid way up to the top of the track and going down to the bottom. Mullick has the point again. 12 laps to go, and Andrew's not done yet.
And this is a very difficult track to pass for the lead at for this reason. That's why Andrew went for such an aggressive slide job. It can be tricky to make a pass on the bottom and take somewhere up to 5-10 laps. The bottom's not easy unless you send it. And Mullick can play defense with that line he's running on the top side through 3 and 4 especially.
Works nicely there as he's going to now have 1 and 2 all to himself. Ryan Andrew goes right up top, and he's going to play the big momentum game coming down the back straightaway. That gives him all he'll need to get back to the back bumper. Sends it deep. There goes Ryan Andrew, and he will come right back up top. It'll be all that Daniel Mullick needs to get the lead once again. They'll be neck and neck at the line. Mullick shoots right up top, and he's not giving any favors to this number 88 team. Ryan Andrew's still going to see some trouble. He'll head up top once again. 10 laps to go. Andrew's on the wall, and that might be the, of course, killer for this lap, but he's not going to keep on fighting if he gets any more damage. Puts the bumper to Mullick. That's going to send Daniel right up top at the wall. There goes Daniel. Another driver gets a piece, and Jeff Maconi's getting there too. Now it's going to be the single-digit shuffle with 3 drivers fighting for the lead.
Keep in mind, Andrew's about still shifting as well with these lunges. Maconi's saying, you know what, let's go. I'm able to send it. And that's going to make things very difficult now for Andrew. Maconi now going to really give a break for Mullick, if anything.
And the 2 Maconi drivers might have just cost their shots at winning this race. That's a premature statement, of course, but Jeff really sent it deep, then just about parked it through the corner, and Ryan Andrew had to back up very, very deep, get much lower than Andrew, of course, was previously, and where Maconi happened to be, and all of a sudden now Andrew's got about 0.2 of a second to make up with 7 laps to go. Not impossible by any means, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy now, as he's going to be coming through 1 and 2. Andrew trying to get to the back bumper of Mullick. Joey Masevich is there as well, and it could be another driver getting in the mix. Andrew's leaning all over Daniel. He'll go down low again. Going to be a bit of a more moderate slide job. If he goes up, so does Mullick. They're beating bang up to the wall. Mullick nearly makes contact, and they'll be side by side with 6 laps remaining. Taking it through 1 and 2. Andrew's got the minor edge, but that momentum, it can be a killer. Andrew rides up top. Mullick now uses the back stretch to his advantage, and Jeff Maconi is set to send it 3.
Andrew's in a prime spot here with the high side, though. He had to bully his way to get that spot. And when you lose the top, it's very difficult to go from there. Masevich, if anything, might be in a prime spot with everybody else burning up their stuff here. Just make the pass, set it up to get along your teammate, alongside your teammate, rather.
And now Joey Masevich making the move into the picture. He's going to be up top. Everyone else burning each other out, but he's running hot laps lap after lap. And right now, Joey does appear to be the quickest in this mix. 4 laps to go this time by, but Andrew's now beginning to pull further and further away. Masevich does have something to say about it. He's still on pace with your race leader, and it is by no means done and done, but it's going to take a lot from Joey here in the Doki Doki Literature Club number 64 to finish the job as he comes down this time by, for will only be 3 laps remaining.
Problem's going to be Macevich is amongst those on the two-tire call, and just riding dirty air is not going to work. That might work, though. Offset 3 wide, and Maconi doesn't know they're 3.
Jeff Maconi sent down to the wall, no caution will fly, beating and banging, Maconi drops to the bottom, and now we'll come down the line with only 2 laps remaining. Macevich has the race lead. Ryan Andrew finds himself working down low. The number 88 sent it to the bottom and looked for the top spot. Now it's going to be Macevich trying to work that back straightaway. Can he get anything out of it? It looks like right now he gets a clear lead, and it's going to be all about whether or not Andrew can run it back and maybe take it through for 4 more turns. White flag this time by for Joey Macevich. He's got the lead. Ryan Andrew, he's still looking. He'll send it down through turns 1 and 2 with Joey having the race lead up top. Momentum down the back straightaway might be all he needs to clear Andrew again, but now it's time to see if there's a send. There he goes. Ryan Andrew down to the bottom. He will slide up immensely, but he's got the edge. Macevich tries to get down to the bottom here, and at the line, they'll be neck and neck, and it looks like it will go to Ryan Andrew. 19 thousandths of a second. Andrew makes it work.
An absolutely phenomenal finish. Could see it coming the second we enter turn 1 and 2. Andrew, all throughout this final run, made it clear he was testing how the slide job would work. And when he got alongside Macevich for that entry, that really helped solidify the ability to go for the slide, but also get to third, park the bus, and force Macevich out of his preferred groove to win in that drag race. Well done, and that's why Iowa Speedway is such a fan favorite racetrack. It's textbook. Slide up, park it in front, force the checkup, and in turn that lost amount of momentum is just enough for Andrew to hold on.
And Macevich really tried everything there at the end, even lunging down to the apron, but just not enough there. Andrew really played it proper, and after all he faced throughout this race, the early wreckage from the front of the field, he knew he was the dominant man early on, but there was no question it was a harder race from the second half to the very end. He's burning it down, rightfully so. Just like that, Andrew gets it done. We'll be back momentarily after these brief messages on Maconi Entertainment. You're watching Fast Fridays from the Iowa Speedway, and we'll return with your top 3 interviews.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Returning from an action-packed night here in the Iowa Speedway, Ryan Andrew is your race winner. Let's run through your race results before we get our top 3 interviews here as Andrew gets it done over Joey Misevich and Daniel Molnix. That's your podium. We'll be talking to them in just a few moments' time. Ronnie Joyner then finishes in 4th with Nelson Rivera 5th. It'll be J.R. Scruggs in 6th and then Jeff Maconi in 7th. It'll be Bradley Minor then 8th, Blake Walker 9th, and Larry Eddy to round out the top 10.
11th spot tonight, Captain McCool. Ken Romnett got shuffled back to 12th. Fernando Lopez Vinales finished 13th, with Donald Stewart in 14th. John Brill in 15th. Cole Baxter parked it with 14 to go in 16th. Mark Thrashty and Upton 17th. John Mullers finished with a disqualification in 18th. Bill Petroff 19th DNF'd. Robert Sanders, the top 23 other starters. Jonathan Ouden, Mason Ford, Tom Barish all did not finish.
And as we look over your results tonight, of course, 23 drivers who took to the green flag, and the podium really made it worthwhile all throughout. We'll talk first with your third-place driver here, Daniel Molnix, in number 58. Justin on standby here, going to be talking with your final step on the podium, Daniel Molnix, third place.
Yes,
What's up,
indeed,
guys?
Daniel. What's up, indeed? First things first, talk us through those final laps, because you had to bounce back from the incidents, yes, but you were amongst those with a chance to be in the driver's seat to hold on for the lead, and then everyone else made it fun.
Yeah, I kind of used my tires up to get up there. I pit, I think, whenever I was running maybe 6th, 7th, somewhere in there. I think me and maybe one other person, man, we went all the way back to like 15th. But I'd used my stuff up to get up front. And racing Ryan and Jeff, even Joey, I wanted to keep the top, but it just got so tight. I had to lift to get off the corner, and once somebody got to your outside, it was their spot. You could race them, side by side, maybe the next corner, but by then they would usually just clear you.
But in turn, how would you describe this combination here this evening, especially with the oval refresh? What was it like out there?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I like the tracks that typically widen out to where, you can have racing like this. Because, racing like this makes up for the cautions that, we've seen in Fast Fridays the last few weeks. Whenever it actually gets to be a 30, 40 lap run, racing like that, it makes you almost forget about all the other stuff that happened earlier in the race.
So in turn, with that being said here, in the end, what do you think you could have changed to try and get this W, in your opinion, outside of the getting tight part?
I think if I could have stayed up front where I started the race, had I not got caught up in those wrecks, I could have seen how the racing was up there, how guys were managing tires, seeing the lines they were running or moving around, whatever. But I think I had to come through the field maybe 3 times the whole race, so I wasn't able to see a whole lot of what they were doing to stay up there. So when I was out front, it was just kind of going off of what I know, as far as just trying to kind of run a defensive line. That's what a lot of it comes down to whenever you have tires worn out. You have to find your defensive line and run it. Let somebody to your inside, knowing that you're going to clear them, on the straightaway.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
You guys for putting it on. These are always fun. The different cars, combinations, tracks, you name it. It's always a lot of fun. And that's it, really. I didn't have any spotters or none of that tonight.
Well, congratulations on the top 3 here tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Daniel Molnix finishes off in 3rd this evening, and it looks like Joey Misevich had to step away, so David has Ryan Andrew on deck.
And it was a fantastic battle between, of course, Andrew and Misevich tonight. We got your winning man here in the interview room. So, Ryan Andrew, a fantastic charge back to the front of the field. Redemption from an early caution you got yourself involved in, and now you're back on top on Fast Fridays here. Working with Ancient World. I think it's the first time you brought out this paint scheme here, and you take the checkered flag with the team. How does it feel getting it done and winning here in Iowa?
Feels great. I was actually close one of these out for once. It's been a while since I've won a Fast Fridays race or one of the C-Fix races on Mondays. So yeah, I got wrecked early. Had to really work hard to drive through the field. It was really hard to pass, and with all the cautions, I just kept on getting stuck in the mid pack there, and then they all took 2 tires there at the end, and I had 4, and I was able to drive by him except for Daniel there, and he chewed up my tires really good, and Joey and Jeff were really able to give me a fight there.
We saw how close the fight was each and every lap. The slide jobs, the moves with different lines, the use of different grooves was a really important part of that race from start to finish. And most importantly, in your way of winning, from sliding right up in front of Misevich and parking it exactly where it needed to be and causing that little shortage of momentum. That's really what seemed to be the winning move. So what was it like planning that out to find the perfect route to win this race?
Yeah, you really had to get a run on him, and then you had to take it to the inside of the corner. And what I did is I drove it in really deep and then shifted to third because it just got so tight and so bogged down. And I think that's what got me back to the line before Joey there at the end.
And getting back just before 19 thousandths of a second. And these Xfinity cars, we don't see them all too often here in Fast Fridays, but whenever they arrive, they give us a thrilling show no matter what. So with this checkered flag, of course, one of the last of the year in mind on Fast Fridays, you think you'll be looking forward to whatever's next year if we maybe see a little bit more of this number 88?
Yeah, hopefully.
And just like that, Ryan Andrew pulls through and gets it done on top here in Iowa. Is there anyone else you'd like to thank after this victory?
Well, I'd like to thank Ancient World and Maconi Setup Shop and you guys for giving us an excellent broadcast that I can look back on and watch all these battles that we had. So, yeah, and thanks to everyone racing up at the front too during that race. Know that there was a lot of cautions, from people in the back, but we were able to clean it up there at the front.
Just like that, it's Ryan Andrews' victory here in the cornfields of Iowa. The checkered flag goes to Andrew after a hard-fought night of 75 laps of racing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And with Ryan Andrew on the way, that concludes your top 3 ceremony for tonight's event. Before we wrap off, though, Justin, when looking back on tonight's race, any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
There was a lot of attrition, yes, but it was one of the best finishes, I think, to close out the year you can ask for, at least towards the end of the season for the 2023 calendar year, because tonight it showcased the need to be able to be patient, the need to be able to save your stuff, the need as well, especially, to be smart on what move you need to set up. Andrew, amongst those, you could throw into those experienced tracks like Iowa, who know that it takes 10 laps to set up the pass. How many laps was that battle? About 10 laps. And guess what? You ended up having the right position, even when you had Misevich on better stuff despite the 2 tires, to be able to set things up for the right move to get it set up to win the Fast Fridays tonight.
And just like that, it's setting up a fantastic finish. It's, of course, Ryan Andrew who gets it done in one of the last nights here in Maconi Entertainment in 2023. But a fantastic year for all the broadcasting tier here at Maconi Entertainment, and I'd like to extend our gratitude to the viewers here who have watched each and every one of our races. We thank tonight's race sponsors, Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Competitive Zone, for bringing the action to you. Calling the action tonight was myself, David Kreutz, alongside Justin Prince in the booth with DJ Lion producing. Thank you all of our viewers for watching tonight's racing action, and we hope you'll stay tuned to all of our social media pages for our next Fast Fridays race. And don't forget to tune in each week for a broadcast of the top split of the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment, and we will see you at the checkered flag.